So, are you in face-to-face or online courses right now?
I have a mix of both.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you think about the discussion components of your courses?
I felt like they've been a little unorganized, but that's just, there's just so much information that we have to get in the discussion that it kind of feels like it's all too rushed into the, yeah.
Now, is that in the face-to-face or the
It's
online?
on the online mostly.
Okay. So, like, how is the online discussion set up?
We have specific little chats for like different topics that we're working on. And then I don't know, I don't go on them quite as often as I probably should.
Yeah.
And so it feels like whenever I get on them, they're just kind of all over the place.
Okay. And do you feel like it's helping you learn the material better, or just a thing that you have to do, or?
Mostly it kind of feels like a thing to do.
Okay.
It's not too bad, but yeah.
Extended University presents Tech Snack Stories. This is part 2 of a series called That Perfect Discussion. Here in this episode, we're going to talk about online discussion. We interviewed a number of students on campus, and 2 things really stood out to us. First of all, quite a few students said that they didn't feel that online discussions were as productive as discussions in face-to-face classrooms, particularly because they often just felt like a thing that they needed to do, like busy work or something that they kind of had to check off their list. The second thing that really stood out was that students are scared to put their opinions out there online. What about you? Do you have any thoughts on class discussion, how they might be better, or maybe you're enjoying your class discussions?
I don't know. Mine are all online, but I definitely see, like, people just say the same thing. Like, they wait for the first person to post, and, like, I'll even, like, see, like, what they say so I can, like, make sure, like, I'm doing it right. So I'm sure that's how, like, everyone does it. And, like, I don't want to be, like, the only one different, I guess. Because I feel like it'd be wrong, but I don't know.
So, like, when you were in high school, you didn't have something like D2L.
No.
So, what did you have discussions in high school in class, or was it mostly just listen to the teacher?
Just listen to the teacher, sort of thing. Yeah, I guess like, people ask questions and stuff, but we never, like, everyone had to, like, say something. Because that's how discussions are. Everyone has to say something. But no, not in class, like in high school.
Now, instructors are definitely aware of these kinds of barriers. One we talked to is trying something new in class. He's trying polling. And this is a face-to-face class, but technologies like Poll Everywhere and Kahoot could make this possible for online discussions as well. Okay, I think it's going.
I've begun using anonymous in-class polling in my sex ed class to get kids more comfortable discussing certain themes.
How's it working?
So far, so good. They get to see right away how people feel about certain subjects, and then I think it increases their willingness to discuss certain things when they see that they're not the only one that feels a particular way. Mm-hmm. So I tend to have discussions then after polling, and I feel, this is just a feeling at this point, but it feels like the discussions are a little more rich compared to previous semesters when I didn't use the in-class polling. I think the big thing, in my opinion, is that they feel like they can see right away that they're not the only one who feels this way or thinks the best option is this. And once you are suddenly not the only one, I think you're more willing to maybe talk about it in a group, in a small group. Now, it doesn't help everybody, but I feel like more people are willing to discuss things because they can tell they're not the only one that feels this way. And on certain contexts, they can see that the majority of people feel this way, and then they're very willing to kind of talk more about it.
So this is just one approach. We have a few more ideas for fostering better online discussions, and these are some ideas that we put forth at a Tech Snacks conversation.
Well, they had the hot seat version where one person would be required to host the discussion and prepare for the types of questions that could be asked about a particular topic. And he or she would have to respond and engage. And the unique thing about that is the person moderating that would essentially become a expert in that area to some extent, because they would have to be ready and prepared to handle all the questions that were coming in.
So they would have to answer, they were kind of the point person for that issue or that subject.
Exactly.
The rest of the students would be required to ask them questions about that topic.
Right.
And that hot seat person, or it could even be a group that's in the hot seat,
Right.
would have to have enough knowledge on that topic to be able to answer those questions.
Right. And that was an interesting way. And then, what was the other one? Debate?
Yeah. So they also had debate format discussions where there would be a topic that the instructor would pick, and then students, either individual students or groups of students, would have to pick a position on that topic. Let's see, how do they have it set up? The instructor would come up with the topic or the issue or the problem, and then
And the positions.
and the positions. So they would set up in D2L they would set up a forum saying this forum is about this topic. And then within that forum there would be two different threads. There would be an agree thread and a disagree thread. And then each student would decide whether they agreed or disagreed with the position of the forum, of the discussion. And then they would have to post in that topic saying, I agree, and this is why I agree. They would have to justify their position. And then the students would go into the other topic, the one that they didn't agree with, and read what the students in that topic were posting, and then either respond to them by saying, oh, well, have you thought about it from this aspect, from this angle? Or, they might even say, you have a convincing argument and I can see your position. Maybe I would be willing to change my position.
Now, some instructors debated with us about whether or not debate is a productive format, and others described their own methods, like this one.
Okay, so it's called PQE. The idea is that first you praise something that your partner has said, whether it's, hey, I really like the way you expressed that, or I didn't notice that thing that you did. Then you question, offering, usually I tell them 3 to 5, really in-depth sort of questions. Why did you see that? Can you point me to a specific place? Did you think about this thing? And then they have to extend upon something that the initial post has said. So if the initial post, for instance, says, I think that this is a really feminist sort of a story, they might say, well, have you considered these possible other readings? For instance, I see this thing here. So it's PQE. First you praise, then you question, then you extend upon it.
Now, we were going to end it here, but then a controversial event happened on campus, igniting a ton of discussion among the students, faculty, staff, and community members.
We're not here for you to get a political idea. We are here and we pay taxes for you so that you get an education.
There are two reasons why we hear people say you go to the university or to a college. Number one is to get a job, which is okay. Number two is to become an educated citizen, and that comes to the issue here. My personal standpoint, of course, is with Native Americans. Professional one, we all need to be more educated. We need to read and find out what's really going on, and not to get emotional about things, but say what's the right thing to do.
Right now, we're sitting here, instead of studying our studies that we came here and we're all here to do, we're sitting here talking about this matter.
You are young people, you are our future leaders out there in the world once you graduate from here. So think about that, and this is a great opportunity for knowledge and learning. And you all went to school, you all went to high school, you know the amendment rights, the constitutional rights. So keep that in mind as you read through this resolution and make your vote. Thank you very much.
There's no reason we should get involved with this. It is completely political. Schools do not need to be political. They're to teach us about future careers, not about whose side we should be taking.
I'd like to think that I'm part of the school that wants to be great at something, encourage people, but
to voice their opinions. And we, obviously, a lot of people in this room feel really strongly about this. And going to Northern is not just about education. You still have your personal life. You can't just say, oh, I'm only here for education. We feel strongly about this.
These sound bites illustrate a final point about cultivating class discussion, and that is that context is everything. All the tools and strategies we just described can only get us so far with students if the content doesn't relate to their own experiences. Students do engage, even voluntarily, when the issues hit close to home.
This happened, and then the very next day, everyone was talking, and everybody was having these conversations, and everyone had an opinion and wanted to share their opinion. And we heard from multiple instructors on campus that this is all they did for the rest of the week, was talk about what happened and talk about the context of it and what it meant to them as students and what it meant to Northern. And
even though that's not online discussion, maybe the thought is that we need an environment where those sorts of conversations can happen and do happen.
Yeah,
so that
yeah.
that feeds back into the culture of online discussion.
Right. I mean, whether it's online or face-to-face, we're always trying to replicate those really good organic discussions. And it's so hard to do that artificially to make it happen. But then here, just this last couple of weeks, it just happened.